Good morning, it's Alexis. We have recently moved from New York to South Carolina, and while I was living in New York, we did anywhere from 1 to 4 farmers markets a week, and I would bake up to 60 loaves of bread, depending on the market and the demand. One of my favorite things to make, and I think my customers liked and my kids definitely loved, were the cinnamon rolls. So since it's now in the kind of 40s in South Carolina, I think it's okay to start baking things in the oven and running the oven. So I've started a batch of cinnamon rolls this morning. I'm trying to pare it down to not be one batch for 4 to 6 pans this size to being, 2 to 3 pans this size. So I'm kind of changing the recipe up, and we'll see if they come out the same and if my kids like them. So I always start with my big glass measuring pitcher. It's a 4-cup pitcher, and I added 1 container of generic heavy whipping cream. It's a 16-ounce container, and that made about 2 cups. To that, I get my butter. Normally, I put in about probably a whole stick in the dough. So I'm going to go with half of that, and I chop it into about tablespoon size pieces and just add that right to the milk or heavy cream. That's a little more than half. Heavy on the butter for my little skinny midget kids. And from that, I'm going to heat it up so the butter melts and get my sugar and my yeast ready. Okay, so the milk and the butter combination is warm. You can kind of see the butter has melted, and you can see it at the top there. I don't want to spill it. And you can do that either on the stove or in the microwave. I threw mine in the microwave for about 3.5 minutes. I know that microwave is not the most homesteady thing in the world to use, but it works. And when I'm in a hurry and it's just store-bought heavy cream. So I measured out between 1/8 and 1/4 cup of sugar. I'm just going to add that in there. And then I'm going to take my really cute little monkey measuring spoons that my mom bought because it entertains my kids, and the tablespoon. And I buy my yeast in bulk, usually at Costco or Sam's, and I'm going to put 2 tablespoons in there, which if you're a real technical baker may be too much, maybe not quite enough, but I am guessing this morning because I've never actually made this little of this batch. So my daughter's helping me and scooped out some more yeast, so I'm going to put that extra drop in there that Ohana thought was necessary. And this is all going to go in the KitchenAid mixer. The KitchenAid I have belonged to my mother-in-law. Ohana's stirring for me now. Super big helper. Huh. Do you want to say hi to the video? Say hi.
Hi.
And it's several years old and has stood up to a long time of big, heavy baking days, so I'm very glad for the good workhorse KitchenAid. And it's going to go in the KitchenAid mixer with the dough hook on. And I'll add flour and a pinch of salt. The butter I used was salted because that's what happens to be in the fridge, so just a pinch of salt. Okay, I've added that mixture of butter, sugar, yeast, and heavy whipping cream to the KitchenAid mixer. And now I'm going to do something that I don't normally do because I want to know the exact measurement of flour that I have to use to get my dough to the right consistency. So I'm going to pour the flour into a 1-cup measuring cup once I get this set with the mixer. Here's my old friend. The yeast is starting to proof. I can see it bubbling in there.
Yes.
I fit my dough hook. Ohana is helping so much. I gotta plug it in, I guess.
It's gonna be, hold on, it's
Okay, so this is going to take longer than it normally does for me because I usually just dump and pour until it mixes to a consistency that pulls away from the sides of the bowl and into a ball. So I'm going to turn it on. Okay, good. My assistant will be right back. She's going to help me in a minute. And here's 1 cup goes in. Super messy all the time. After I've baked for a day, the counter is almost totally covered in flour. And last summer I was lucky enough to have my husband home with me, and he would magically have it all cleaned up before I got back from the market the next day. He would help me with the packaging and the labeling, which was very helpful. That's 2, right? Watch me lose count. Whoop. That's a super full 3, so I'll just short the next one a little bit. We don't need the butter yet, not till the dough's ready to roll out. So I'm just letting that combine in here. I know 3 cups isn't going to do it, but I don't want to overload it either. A yummy surprise for your sisters when they get home. Do you think they'll be excited? Oh, I love cinnamon roll dough. You know what I forgot to add? I need to get some cinnamon in there. Just because the more cinnamon, the better. Ooh, spilling everywhere. Baking day is so much fun, isn't it, Ohana? So that's 4, and that was slightly smaller than a cup because I overfilled the last one. I'm not very good at measuring, and if you're not very good at measuring, you probably aren't going to do great with cakes and cupcakes and cookies. Well, cookies are okay. But there's something about baking bread that you can kind of go by feel and consistency instead of specifics. So that looks like I did 1 16-ounce carton of heavy whipping cream, about a half a stick of butter, 2 tablespoons plus what Ohana added of the yeast, between 1/8 and 1/4 cup of sugar, and 4 cups of flour, and I threw some cinnamon into the dough. Now we use the monkey measuring spoons. And I'm going to turn it off now that it's kneaded for a little while and feel how sticky it is. And actually, that feels really good with 4 cups of flour. Now you add more flour when you roll it out, so you don't want to overdo it with this recipe.
So we're gonna put the butter in.
No, we don't put the butter in yet, not till we roll it out.
No.
So let me show you what the dough looks like. I'll take a little piece out. Oh, it's all warm. It is very smooth, almost like a Play-Doh consistency. It's very pliable, so it's not too sticky where it's sticking to my fingers, but it's not heavy and thick, maybe. So this is going to sit and rise on a turned down oven with a towel over top of it for probably an hour or however long it takes me to... The butter is in. Oh, thank you, dear. Butter's ready for when we roll it out. Ohana unwrapped it for me. So this is going to rise for probably an hour or however long it takes me to fold my laundry and clean up the rest of my kitchen. So my dough's been rising while I've been doing laundry and stuff. I'm giving it a little bit of a knead with some extra flour because I think I would adjust this recipe down on the butter. Give it a little bit more.
And we bat it up.
And we bat it up and roll it and mark it with a B.
And we put it in the ants and make it and me.
So since I wasn't real thrilled with the consistency of the dough right after it rose, I added some more flour. I've got way too much flour out here on my board right now.
And roll it add it and mark it with a B. Put in the oven with makeup on me.
I'm going to use my new hand-turned rolling pin that a friend of mine made special for me from the farmer's market in Carthage
Beautiful.
in New York. It is beautiful. It's very well balanced. It's very heavy. So, you know, if somebody, you know, gives me a headache or needs a whopping upside the head, it'll work. But really, it works much better to just roll out cinnamon roll dough or cookie dough. Can you stop doing that now? Because we're done with that part. We're rolling it out now. So I'm going to roll it to a good rectangle shape. Not too thin, but I like it kind of thin because then I'm going to scoot you now so I can roll it better.
No.
Oh, Hannah's standing on a little stool next to me, and I couldn't get to the dough to roll it better. Oh, she's coming to the other side now. She likes to help with everything. So I will just pour on butter. Not now. This is the cinnamon sugar part, okay? Stop. Thank you. Okay, so once it's rolled out, all you do is drizzle on the butter as much or as little as you like. I always make a mess so well. I just pour some sugar in a bowl and shake it on. The girls like to eat these without frosting, usually. Cinnamon. I used to have some people at the farmer's market were upset I didn't put frosting. Some people were glad I didn't put frosting, and everybody loved that there had to be a lot of cinnamon on these. So, cinnamon, sugar, butter, roll it up. Now that it's got a little more flour consistency to it, it feels better to me. I think they'll stand up better. These are going to get cut to about 8 cinnamon rolls. So Hannah left. She went to go watch TV. You can hear her little feet pitter-patter. I just spray the edges of my pan because I'm afraid that the edges of this will stick, but the bottom should have plenty of butter in there. I'm happier with these. They're standing up better. Once I get them cut and in the pan, they're going to rise again for about 30 minutes or so, and then go in the oven and bake. I usually do, well, I had a gas oven in New York, and this oven is
clean and video.
this oven is totally different. It's an electric gas top oven. So I usually start with 12 minutes on the top and 12 minutes on the bottom to bake it at about 375 because the sugar will burn if you bake these too hot. So here they are now. They're going to rise. I'm going to bake them 12 minutes on the top, 12 minutes on the bottom at 375, and we'll see how much time I'll have to adjust when they come out. See you later. I just pulled my cinnamon rolls out of the oven. It looks like about 25 to 30 minutes is plenty of time for them.
Yep.
I'll show you. These are just fresh out of the oven, nice and warm.
Yeah.
Ohana's back. They've got to cool now. Now, the first pan I didn't add enough more flour, but they're going to taste good and the girls are going to love them. So it doesn't really matter that they do not look like cinnamon rolls at all. But like I said, when you're doing the recipe, we're either going to add 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter, not the whole half a stick, or more flour, depending on how you want to adjust that. I think I'll do both when I give the recipe in the description. These are the cinnamon rolls that came out right. They look good. They feel soft and squishy and fluffy. And I think your sisters are going to be really excited. Love it?
Yeah.
Are you going to eat them before your sisters get home?
No.
No? You're going to wait?
Uh-huh.
What a good girl. All right. Well, thanks for watching. I'll have more videos soon. Bye.